So I would just like to give a big thank you to everybody who tuned into last night's stream. It got to be my longest stream ever at almost 4.5 hours, and we also got up to I think 64 subs over the course of the stream, which is always a big W. I always love seeing that number go up. So yeah, let's just get into today's story time. So this is one of those ones that takes place back during my junior year. So back in 2023, right before Christmas had happened, and I was just chilling there. I was thinking about Christmas break because we were on it at the time. It was a nice like 2 to 3 week Christmas break, and I hit up my one friend Joe. I was like, "Hey, you doing anything over Christmas break? We throwing any parties?" Because Joe is like the friend with the big ass party basement, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll throw a party over the course of break. Invite basically everybody." I was like, "Okay, you know what? Bet." So basically, over the next like couple weeks before the party took place, I was hitting up basically fucking everybody. Alvin got hit up. My one buddy who we'll just call Carter got hit up. Dennis got hit up, I believe. Seamus was like living with Joe at the time, so he was already there for the party. I was just talking to everybody physically possible for this fucking party, and we were all discussing like what substances to bring in. Joe always had a large array of like alcohol for us to drink, and normally I'd bring a little weed. A lot of people would bring some weed, and we'd all just have a little bit of a fun time. And so fast forward down to the day of the party. I'm discussing with Joe what times to pull up. He's telling me to pull up around like 9 or 10 o'clock. Asked me who all I invited. I just gave him basically the rundown and list. I invited like 10 people. He invited like 12 people. Just everybody was told to bring a plus one if they could. And I'm just chilling, getting my attire around for the night. My one buddy who I was talking about earlier, Carter, hits me up and he's asking me if I can give him a ride down to the party. And me at the time, I did not have my license. I was eligible to get it, but I only had my permit. And so I was like, I can't pick you up, but I probably know somebody with a license who can. And he goes, okay, could he also pick up our two other friends? Fucking, we'll just call Mike and Max. I know I've used Max before, but we're just gonna roll with it. So he's like, "Can they pick up Mike and Max too?" I was like, "Maybe you guys might have to throw him some gas money because fair is fair. If we're coming to pick you up, you pay gas money." And yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I could probably throw like 20 bucks in the tank, which was fair. It was like a 15-20 minute car ride out to Carter's house." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll ask my one friend if he can come get you later, and I'll go with him, so it's not like awkward or anything." He's like, "Okay, bet, thank you." And I got off the phone with him, hit up my one friend who we'll just call Bart, and Bart was like one of my only people that could drive at the time. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, can you go get Carter and a few other people from like this town 15-20 minutes away?" He's like, probably. Do they have gas money? I was like, yeah, Carter said he'd pay you 20 bucks. He's like, okay, yeah, are you going to go with me? I was like, yeah, I'll go with you because we're all going to the same place after anyway. So I got off the phone with him, and then we're just gonna fast forward to when me and him left to go pick up Carter, Mike, and Max because I didn't really do anything significant in between that time besides getting a little bit of weed, which didn't really get it because I already had it. So yeah, me and Bart left to go pick up Carter, Mike, and Max. I let them all three of them know we were on the way. They weren't all at the same location though. Unfortunately, we had to go pick up Mike and Max at a separate location. It was their house, and so we went over to go get Carter, and it took us like 20 something minutes to get there. And when we got there, we were just driving down the street looking like dumbasses because I didn't remember where Carter lives specifically. And the area where he lives at is a very populated neighborhood, so any house on the GPS or in the neighborhood could have been his. And eventually, we see his tall ass walking down the street. He has a big ass just stoner bag with him, just this nice, colorful yarn knit looking bag, and he just hops in the car with me and Bart, and he looks over at me. He goes, "You'll never guess what I brought." I go, "What'd you bring, Carter?" And he just whips out the big old 15 pack of Bush. I think it was. It was just some sort of case of Bush, and I was like, "Well, holy shit, we're gonna have a really fun night tonight, aren't we?" And Bush is like the only beer I think I could drink at the time that didn't just taste like warm piss to me. So I wasn't too too fucked up over it being a shitty beer, and I wasn't really drinking much at the time either, so it didn't matter. But anyway, we left and we went to go get Mike and Max, and they both probably lived, I'd say, like 5 minutes away from Carter's house, same town, not live very far away. And we got there, waited like 5 minutes for them to come outside. They both came out, hopped in the car, and they both pulled out these little baggies of weed. So they were both prepared for the little function we were about to have. And so Bart starts taking the four of us. We're all going back to my house to, pregame a little bit before we go over to Joe's because it was like 7 or 8 by the time that we had all gotten Mike and Max. So we went back to my house, smoked a little bit, and eventually we walked over to Joe's house. Bart was not allowed at Joe's house for I'm not exactly even sure the reason, but yeah, he just wasn't allowed over at Joe's house, so he just dipped and went back to his place. And yeah, the three of us proceeded to go walk over to Joe's house, and this is kind of where like the meat of the story time starts to happen, like when the real party starts. And so the party starts, we're all just a bunch of high schoolers being dumb, getting drunk, smoking, doing all the things, you're not supposed to be doing. And we're all just chilling down in the basement. I'd say probably like an hour or two of partying went by, and all of us being, the big back fucks we are, ordered some Dominoes, and it took like what 15, probably 20 minutes to get there. The Domino's is not that far away from Joe's house, and we ordered like I think two pizzas and a thing of lava cakes, and we all started fucking that shit up. And eventually, we all just went into Joe's room to smoke a little bit, and we're getting in there. I think Carter had to make a G station. The rest of us, we had like I think a few cones, and we rolled a J with and smoked that a little bit. But Carter made us a nice little G station we all could smoke out of a little. And the one rule for smoking in Joe's basement is if you smoke in his room, keep the door shut. And I'd say the only people in there smoking were me, Carter, Max, Joe, and Mike. We were all the five of us just in Joe's room smoking up, having a good time. And eventually, me and Carter left out of the room to just go chill out in the like little living area of the basement a little more. And when we get out there, we start seeing a glorious sight. Alvin is bawling his fucking eyes out for just no apparent reason. Like, I walk up to him, I ask him if he's like okay, why he's crying, and he just straight up goes, "I don't know." And so we're all just sitting there, being wonderful friends. We have like four cameras in his face recording him, just recording this embarrassing moment to just have for the rest of our lives. And he's just sitting there. He's like, I lost my thug streak and just losing his shit. And eventually, thankfully, he does stop crying and just goes back to smoking and drinking, just doing what he was doing before. And I'd say probably another period of time went by of all of us just sitting around, dicking around, partying for a little bit happened before Mike walked up to a bunch of us and asked, "Hey, do any of you guys want to go outside and like wait for my girlfriend to get here with me?" Because apparently he had just told his girlfriend to show up. I didn't even know he had one at the time either, and I was like, I'm not going outside right now. I'm good. There's probably other people here who would." And he just starts talking to more people, and eventually, our good friend Alvin, who's back from the waterworks factory, agrees to go out with him, just chill with him for a little while he waits for his girlfriend to show up. And I'd probably say like 15, 20 minutes go by, and Mike and Alvin still have not come back downstairs yet. And then something like very, very bad happens. Like something you definitely do not want to happen at the party happens. Joe's mom, who had been here the entire time, came downstairs and starts flipping shit because all she smells is pot smoke. She says she caught people smoking outside, which that confused the fuck out of us, and none of us were even like smoking at the time. And then lo and behold, Joe comes stumbling out of his room because he had accidentally left the fucking door open while he was smoking in there, and that's what she had smelled. And then the people smoking outside were not Mike and Alvin, but Mike was hitting his vape outside where her ring camera could see just out front in front of everybody. So she was pissed. She tells us, "Hey, the people who were outside smoking, they need to just fucking leave." And she couldn't exactly just kick her son Joe out of the house, so she didn't do that. But thankfully, she did let Mike and Alvin come down and get the stuff that they had left down there. And Mike basically asked us, like, what are we gonna do? Because he doesn't live in town. He didn't have like a way home. He was gonna like stay at the house for the party that night. And on top of that, Max, his brother, was allowed to stay at the party, and he wasn't. So we're all just trying to figure out the situation before they're like out for the night. And me and Carter just decided, hey, we're gonna go with Mike just back to my house for a little bit till he can figure out how to get home, and Max was gonna come with us and just dip on the party as well. So the four of us plus Alvin all, dip out of Joe's house. Carter unfortunately had to leave his fucking views there, and I had also fucking left a bunch of weed there, and that was very unfortunate because I don't think I had any more weed at the time. But we're all walking home, and my house is not very far away from Joe's, thankfully. And Alvin had split up like away from us a while before we even got close to my house. So me, Mike, Max, and Carter are all just like walking through this big ass wet soccer field because it had rained earlier in the day while we were at the party, and fucking I think Mike tried to slide tackle Carter and failed miserably and just got covered in dirt, which was really unfortunate because Mike had a really nice fucking outfit on. And eventually, thankfully, we all do get back to my house, and my mom was very upset with four just drunk teenagers being in her house, just doing the thing, being drunk out in the living room. And eventually, Mike and Max both get picked up, and me and Carter both just spend the night sleeping at my house. And that's pretty much where this story time ends. I feel like there's some blanks on like certain topics, like how the rest of the party went after we left and what the fuck even happened to Mike's girlfriend. But if you like today's story time, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how the first full story time on the new setup went. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.